We're going to review the new MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, but also the Surface Book with the performance base. And in contrast, we also have the old MacBook Pro Retina display 13 inches, and a very old but very trusty Bio 12 inches from 2012. Just for perspective, look at these ports: VGA, HDMI, USB, SD card. There's so many ports, even Ethernet. This is how laptops used to be. But it's true, most of us have gone to wireless. The port that I miss the most is the HDMI port, which was present in the MacBook Pro and even in the old Windows laptops. It's no longer there, neither on the Surface Book or on the new MacBook Pro. And I think it's stupid. HDMI is a really useful port, and there's a lot of TVs out there. They will never be USB-C. The new MacBook Pro 15 inches with Touch Bar has two USB-C, one headphone port, audio jack, and another two USB Type-C. Nothing else, that's it, that's for ports. While the Surface Book has a little bit more. You can see a kind of a MagSafe power connector, a Thunderbolt, and then you have two USB Type-3 and an SD card port. In terms of thickness, believe it or not, the Surface Book is the worst. And then we have the very old Bio, and then we have the MacBook Pro 13 inches, and at the very least, the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. If you're gonna go to a MacBook Air, I will really reconsider that and go to one of these instead. They are just better, and they are really thin now. Windows 10 is really surprising. I think that Microsoft now has a very good operating system even for mobile users. I used to think that Mac OS was just the best for a mobile laptop. But Windows 10, I think it's good enough. And in some cases, it may be even better, which again blows my mind, because for the last decade, I've been Mac only. If you wanna go the MacBook route, you really should love the dongle life, because nothing works with USB Type-C right now. It will, obviously. It is the future, no doubt. But right now, nothing. And then, regarding the power adapter, you have this, and you no longer have the extension cord. For some reason, they didn't add it. But something that you may not notice is that the cable is now really, really long. Check it out. It's 2 meters long, and for your American sensibilities, 6.5 feet long. The Surface Book doesn't come with HDMI, so an HDMI dongle with Thunderbolt of all ports, it's actually something that you really need if you're going to use the Surface Book in a professional way. Interestingly though, Microsoft created the Surface Dock, which is something that you connect to the power brick. It has a cable that plugs precisely in the place where normally the power cable will connect magnetically. And then you have a lot of ports: Ethernet, 2 Thunderbolts, headphone jack, 2 USB 3.0, and 2 other USB behind it. And it's also really, really heavy. So you will normally just put this in your workplace and you will leave it there. The Surface Book unlocks trying to recognize your face. It has 2 cameras, a normal camera and an infrared camera that creates an stereoscopic vision of your face to make sure that it's you, that you are alive, and that it's not a picture. Check it out. My favorite feature of the Surface Book is obviously the Surface Pen. You have a touch screen that you can use however you want, but you can also draw on top with the Surface Pen, and it recognizes small or very strong strokes. And you can do whatever you want. This app comes included with the Surface Book. It's called Sketchable. It's not complete, you need to pay $19 to have a complete use of that app, but I really, really, really like how it works. I've been sketching a lot and I love it. And something that I really like is that if you, for some reason, made a mistake and you want to undo, you take 3 fingers and you just swipe. And as you swipe, it disappears, as you can see. So it's really easy to just draw whatever you want without damaging what you're doing. The touch behaves almost as you will expect. It almost feels like an iPad. You can just tap, swipe, zoom, you can do whatever you want. And most apps in Windows 10 have total support for touch. Also, there's an action center in Windows 10 where you can switch stuff. And the favorite thing that I've been doing with this laptop is this. You can just push this button here and you can unplug the screen and you have a tablet. The interesting thing is that here you have a full complete laptop. You have the Intel Core i7 CPU here, 16 gigs of RAM, the SSD hard drive, everything that you need to do anything you want with an actual computer, which I love. Over here, this is the performance base, and you will find here more battery. You will find the GPU, an NVIDIA GeForce 980M, obviously the ports, trackpad, and keyboard. And you can actually continue using your laptop in tablet mode using all that additional power just by plugging it again. And then you can just fold it, and you can use it to take notes like this. You can just use it to draw like this. You can do whatever you want. The Surface Pen has a couple of tricks. So, for example, if you tap once, you will see something that they call the ink space, in which you can do sketches. You can share this while doing a video call, for example, sharing the screen. Or let's say that I don't really like something here, that I want to do some changes and I want to inform my team. I do a double tap and then I take a screenshot, and then I can tell them, you know, this shouldn't be here. This should be actually bigger. And I can change the size. I can also change the color and mention that this and this and this should be actually part of this course instead of the other course. And I can save it, I can copy, I can share, I can do whatever I want. This is a feature that I really love. I've been abusing this feature lately. I really like how Microsoft implemented the note-taking feature. Because you sometimes use this undocked instead of with the performance base, you will find the headphone jack right here, which is kind of awkward, but it's also awkward that in the MacBook Pro, they switch it to the right side instead of the left side. It just feels wrong anyway. You find the power button here, volume over here, and you have two cameras. You have one camera here, a very good 8 megapixel camera, and a 1080p webcam right here, together with the infrared camera and microphones. And if you're really worried that you're going to lose your Surface Pen, it docks right here, magnetically, and it's really hard. Check this out. I really need to do a lot of force to eliminate this. So far, I haven't lost my Surface Pen, and even when I put it in my backpack, it stays right there. The MacBook Pro, instead of unlocking with your face, unlocks with your fingerprint. Once unlocked, you can use anything you want and the touch bar always stays on. For some reason, you cannot adjust, at least yet, the brightness of the touch bar. You have the escape button, even though over here it won't register the touch, but over here it will. It's almost like 5 millimeters that won't perceive the touch. Also, if you want to change the brightness, you have to do one tap and then switch it over here and then get out. If you want to switch the volume, you click here and you move it right here. It feels a little bit more of a hassle than when you used to have actual buttons, but it looks very pretty. There's a Siri button right here that you cannot disable, you cannot take it out, and my Siri is in Spanish. Siri, te odio.
Lo hago lo mejor que puedo.
If you're using Apple applications, they will have support for the touch bar, and you will find a lot of buttons. You will find, for example, buttons here in the preview to rotate the canvas. If you go to Safari, you will have previews of the tabs that you have opened right there. And you also have all the tools needed to use Safari, obviously. In iTunes, you can modify the way that a song works, and you can also see a small preview of the song that you're playing right now. But the most infuriating thing is when you go to the terminal. The lack of escape button makes using editors like Vim almost impossible. But for some reason, they added this. You can switch around the color of the terminal however you want. I really don't get it. I mean, I respect it, but it's a really weird choice for the most important feature of the terminal. I don't like it at all. I'm not sure. I mean, probably some people will. I just think that it's a terrible choice. But it showcases somehow the different abilities that you will have while you're using the touch bar once you're using something like, for example, Illustrator or Photoshop. But again, if you go to the terminal and you try to do Vim test.txt, there you go. You can escape Shift 2.E and you can kind of insert and edit, but if you want to escape Shift 2.Q, it won't work for some reason. It won't register. I can do escape Shift ZZ and kind of get out, but I think it's mostly because it detects the Shift ZZ. It doesn't really detect the escape. In terms of actual hardware, something that is surprising is that this grill right here is just cosmetic. The actual speakers are behind, and the speakers are amazing. The speakers here are way better than the former MacBook Pro or even the Surface Book. They really did a great job there. The trackpad feels incredible. In terms of trackpad, no one compares to Apple. The trackpad with the Surface Book is not as good as the trackpad in the MacBook Pro, by far. The Surface Book gets there like 85% of the way, but that 15% sometimes really makes a difference. However, it's really huge, and sometimes when you're typing, your palms rest right here. They won't detect the click. Apple is actually very smart about it, but they will detect the press because it has force touchpad. So sometimes you will do random clicks because you're trying to type. The keyboard, it's also thinner than it used to be. So it feels a little bit weird. If you're used to the keyboard in a MacBook, you will probably feel fine. But I've been having a really hard time trying to adjust to this new keyboard. And for some reason, it's also really loud. Obviously, we know that it's because it has the new butterfly keys underneath. But still, feels a little bit weird. I'm not sure about Apple's commitment to making everything thinner and kind of force touchpad, force click, etc. The screen is beautiful, it's Retina display, but to be honest, I cannot find a difference between the Retina display of Apple and the high definition pixel display of a Surface Book. It's almost the same now. There's obviously a webcam, but it's a 720p webcam, which is something that I cannot understand in 2016, a 720p webcam. It's really surprising how far Microsoft has advanced in creating incredible polished laptops. It feels premium. Also, it feels weird because this is magnesium instead of aluminum, which is what you will find in the MacBook Pro. But it really feels like a premium laptop. I am enjoying using it, even though it's Windows, even though it's Microsoft, even though it's been 10 years since I used Windows. This is really good. I have found almost no problem switching from Mac to Windows. If you are heavily invested in things like iCloud, and the whole Apple software ecosystem, you will probably find it a little bit harder, but it was not that hard, except for one thing, Keynote. Keynote is the killer app for the Mac, in my opinion, for the type of use that I have. I do a lot of presentations, a lot of keynotes, and Keynote is just better. I think that Apple executives use Keynote a lot, and they put a lot of pressure on the software team to create an incredible, polished piece of software. PowerPoint just sucks. PowerPoint is not even close to the incredible quality of Keynote. Also, the trackpad. This trackpad is also glass, but it's not as good as this one. You can connect a mouse, but I do not travel with a mouse. I travel with just the laptop. However, I will take the shitty trackpad for the incredible touchscreen and the lovely Surface Pen. This is a killer thing. And the fact that you can use it without the performance base or even just as a notepad is something that I really love. Because it has a GeForce 980M, gaming in this laptop is possible. It's not incredible, it's not an Alienware, it's not an actual computer that you build yourself, but it's good enough. It's good enough to run almost any game, and it has support for everything with Steam, which is something that in the Apple world will probably not happen for a while. In short, I'm going to make this laptop my main laptop, at least for the next couple of years. I know that this is the future. I know that USB Type-C will be the premium, unique, preferred port for almost all devices in the future. For some reason, not the iPhone 7. But for the rest, USB Type-C will be the standard. But that's not true today. Today, we still have USB 3. Today, we still have SD cards. Today, we still need a laptop that, if you're a professional, has enough ports for you to work with. And this is my choice for now. I'm really gonna miss Keynote, and probably you're gonna miss a lot of things. So, as I say goodbye to the Mac, I would like to ask you guys, what are you gonna miss? Or what do you really love about this? If I can help you with the transition, please let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna be there answering your questions either from the Surface Book or the MacBook Pro on how to move something from here to there. And please subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of incredible reviews and excellent courses at courses.platzi.com. Subscribe and go to courses.platzi.com.